What? It's Christmas music. Hey everybody, Jeff DeVerter here, and we're here for Rackspace Live today. We're going to talk about the Microsoft Power Platform and why governance is actually the key to make your Power Platform adoption accelerate. That's in 30 seconds. Coming right up. We'll be right here. Well, clearly we're going to need some peppier music than that on that intro. Hey, everybody. My name is Jeff DeVerter. I'm the Chief Technology Evangelist here at Rackspace Technology, and welcome to Rackspace Live. Now, you know I come to you every Tuesday and Thursday at 8:30 a.m. Central Time. Now, that's our part of our Solve Live. Solve is our thought leadership practice and program here at Rackspace. Now, when you start seeing me around 12:30 for a Rackspace Live, that's where we're talking to you about how Rackspace, with our own services and offerings, are helping customers accelerate their cloud adoption. Now, as part of this, we will have a similar format in that I would love for you guys to be a part of this conversation. So feel free to introduce yourself in the comments there down below, whether you find us on YouTube or on Twitter or, of course, on LinkedIn, and that would be fantastic. So you know that oftentimes when we do these sessions, I start with some cloud news, we get some cloud releases. But guys, that's Solve Live. Here on Rackspace Live, we do things just a little bit different. And what we're going to do today is we will still start with a bit of news because it plays very much into our topic today. Now, the Microsoft Power Apps platform is a platform that helps you, just literally do more because it gives you the ability to help automate things. Hey, Florida's here. And, of course, it's Daniel. Daniel, the producer's here. And but it helps you automate more. It helps you do more with these manual processes that you have, and even be able to look at the way your teams operate and find ways to be more efficient. Now, up until this past November, in fact, November 21st is when this article came out, it was common that Microsoft had put a 5,000 occurrence per Power App run per day. So that's pretty substantial. Now think about an app that needs, 5,000 up to 5,000 occurrences in a single day. Well, there are apparently an awful lot of them. And so Microsoft has increased that limit to 40,000 per day. That's incredible. Now, any app that is getting 40,000 interactions a day inside of your organization is an app that's really quite popular. And I'm going to push a button. It's amazingly popular. And anytime that you have an app that's running like that, it's running on a platform that has wide-scale enterprise adoption. Anytime that anything gets interacted with that much inside of the organization, it requires a little bit of control. Now, that control in applications inside of an organization, there's a word for that. It's called governance. And we're going to dig deep on what this actually means today. So I brought a couple of friends to have this conversation. First of all, from Rackspace is Teresa Cortez, who is coming to us from San Diego area, where apparently the internet isn't so great today. So should she disappear, when she does appear, you'll know why. So I'm super excited that Teresa is here. Now, she's brought along Jeremiah Sauder. Now, Jeremiah, his friends and Rackers call her Jerry, but just in case his mom's watching, we're going to call him Jeremiah today, just for consistency's sake. So he's come along as well. He's a delivery architect, and he has been spending an amazing amount of time in the governance space because as a delivery architect, he is in front of customers, on a day in and day out basis, and sees the pain that a lack of governance brings to the table. So with that, Daniel, why don't we bring the guests to the front? So, team, welcome here today. Jerry/Jeremiah, if mom's watching, glad that you're here. And Teresa, welcome.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. And I bet you're glad to be doing a Rackspace Live at 12:30 Central for my West Coasters, as opposed to 8:30 Central, which I don't even think the sun's up for you when we do those most of the time.
That is correct.
All right. So governance. It's a thing. Now, before we get too deep, it's a scary word. And if anybody works inside of an organization, larger organization, you know that when the word governance get used, it sounds like top-down control. But Jerry, let's unpack what we mean here when we talk about governance.
Sure. So governance for, let's say, Power Platform is specific to the policies, the roles and responsibilities and processes that control how an organization works with a specific tool and how they intend to work with a specific tool. And then what can you put into place to ensure that that tool is being used the way that you as an organization want it to be used.
All right. So just some controls, some safeguards, if you will.
Exactly.
You know, whenever the topic comes up, if you've listened to me over the years here on these channels or others, I tell the same story, and that story is as the automobile was being created. So the first ones come off the line, and we know what the engine does. Internal combustion engine, where there were several different types they had, made the thing go forward, and to stop it, just a very very bad little hand crank against a wheel. But in order to make the vehicle go faster, it's translated into enterprise apps, wider adoption. What they had to do with cars was invent the brake as we know it today. In order to go faster, you had to put the brakes on because the faster you go, the more control you have to have. Sudden stops are a solution to the problem, but not the most comfortable. So governance allows wider scale adoption because there are these controls of how it can be used. Correct, Jerry?
That is correct. Being able to put these controls into place allows us to set the environment up so that, and a term that we use in Power Platform is, it allows our citizen developers to go out there and to take their knowledge and their processes and build some sort of way to automate that, or to give some time back to them in the day by making a task easier. Based on the knowledge that they have. And so making sure that we set up the controls that are in place and the policies that we want to use that enables them to go out and do that without having to bottleneck everything through IT.
Perfect. Yeah. So I was. This is a challenge that the Microsoft really the whole collaboration suite has dealt with over the years, because it's an application that's not intended for a few folks in IT or a few developers over there or a couple of data nerds and I say that with a very much in term of endearment, to dig into and create some dashboards. This is meant for the populace to get in and make life better. Teresa, anything you want to add there? Because you've been in this space, whether it's 365 or any of this for so long.
Exactly. So Power Apps has really brought, the next level to anyone to go out and make their job a little bit easier. And like Jerry said, along with that, you have to have some kind of policies in place for multiple reasons. So obviously, the very key one that we all talk about all the time is data protection. Yeah. And so who has access to that data? And then just helping the end user as they're building that out, make sure that they don't mistakenly enable people to get access to data that they shouldn't have access to, right? So there's some loss prevention that needs to be built in. And then there is a integrity of data that comes with governance as well, right? And so if it's not thought through or built out well, or the data, that gets put in is not somehow controlled, then people tend to not use it. And then that person just wasted their time building something that, isn't usable.
That's right. Hey, let's cut to the chase while we have our conversation. Look, folks, we've got some really smart people here at Rackspace to help with all of these problems. Hey, Kelly, glad that you're here. And if you would like to talk to one of those folks, we've got a link. Daniel's going to post it in the comments below. It's too long to put up here for you guys to try to type in. But if you'll go and just give us some basic information, we'll get one of our smart people there. Now, here's the other reason you want to do this. Jeremiah studiously is creating literally, well, not right now because he's talking to us, but he's actively finalizing, and we have in preview right now, early access, a workshop all around Power Platform governance. And if you'd like information when that gets rolled out, or maybe even let's call it a 10% discount on what that would be when it does roll out in the first part of 2022, go fill out that form. We'd love to hear from you, or even just comment here. We'll capture your name and reach back out to you. But this is a huge asset because I can't, guys. I started my IT career sort of effectively once I got through the whole MCSE thing. Back, let's see, what was one of those tests? Windows NT 4.0. Let's see if you can figure out what years that was. I was working on that, and Exchange 5.5. Let's just say a whole long time ago, but it was in the Microsoft space. And the big challenge with SharePoint, which was the first big app I worked on, was the fact that it became the Wild West. People would say, "Oh my gosh, I can solve simple problems that I used to have to go to IT for." That's exactly what's happening in the Power Platform, but light years beyond. But the biggest challenge with corporate adoption is just what we're talking about. How do you put the right guardrails in place of governance to make sure you don't have the data loss, you don't have security issues, and several other things that Jerry's going to tell us about in a second. But sign up for that workshop. Fill out that link that Daniel's posting in the comments out there over on LinkedIn, YouTube, and the Twitter. Hopefully it's out there as well. But we'd love to hear from you. So Jerry, how does Microsoft define governance in the Power Platform?
Sure. So Microsoft uses 4 themes when they are talking about their governance. The first being the architecture. Architecture is really what are the basic concepts of the tool that you're going to be using. In this case, we would talk about things like what is an environment, what is Power Apps as a whole, what is Power Automate, Power Virtual Assistant, all those things. Kind of explain what they are first so you have an understanding of how they will work together.
Yeah.
The next thing that Microsoft uses as their theme is security. And we kind of touched on that already. And that's, who has access to the data, what DLP policies are we putting there so that we're protecting our data, and other security measures that we want to have in place. Okay. The next theme is the alert and action. Really, how do we know when something happens in our environment, and what are we going to do in order to facilitate the resolution of that issue, or enhance an app that we've created based on information that we're gathering back. And not only that, but how do we get those alerts? How do we set those up? So that might be as simple as putting some things in your flow so that that keeps track of what's going on, and notifies you in maybe the Teams app when something happens. And then finally, monitor is the final theme for Microsoft, and that's really what are we watching as things go through? What are we trying to keep track of to actively stay on top of what's being used? And that could be, how many apps are we building in our environment? Who's accessing these apps? Things like that. And the Security and Compliance Center plays a big part in that, being able to audit how things are coming in through the Power Platform.
Well, isn't that one of the beauties of the fact that this is a platform, Teresa, that all of this integrates together? We talk about security and compliance. We talk about how this integrates into Teams. It integrates, of course, into SharePoint. It integrates, well, not just with everything inside of the Microsoft suite, but in fact, I had a news article yesterday about how they're enabling the voice service in Azure to now integrate natively inside of Teams, but even outside of Teams. And that becomes, or outside of the Power Platform. And isn't that even one of those areas we have to think about from a governance point of view? What are we going to allow people to connect to and pull data from and have governance around as well, Teresa?
Exactly. Yeah, 100%. I mean, the Power Apps can connect to so many different solutions, and they have pre-built connectors, already defined, and you can find a list of that on their website. And it uses tools like Power Automate as well. So you're right, there are a lot of different tools that it can access, a lot of different data points, and that's really where this monitoring comes into play.
And one of the other things back in the SharePoint days, my SharePoint days, that always came to bite SharePoint's reputation inside of an organization. And isn't that one of those areas we're really trying to protect, is the reputation of this as a service so that it actually can be a useful tool and not a harmful tool? And that is that when something breaks, when something goes afoul, when data leaks, when somebody sees something they're not supposed to, the CEO's salary, not a good thing to expose, is or if it's just broken. And now there's this whole business process that relied on it, and nobody knew that it relied on it. And now everyone stopped, drops, and rolls trying to solve this problem because somebody turned off access to one piece of data inside of the organization. Isn't that a huge piece when you think about that governance? And what is the collection of data that we're exposing here?
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely about access management, data management. And I think, the end goal to governance isn't to prevent people from, enhancing their job or
Yeah.
improving their job. It's actually to give them a tool that they can use that has some safeguards already put into place that can enable them to develop that solution and not be, as concerned that they're going to push the wrong button or release the wrong data. And so I think, instead of thinking it, from a controlling perspective, it's more about enablement.
Right. Now, just a reminder, Philip showed up here. He's a regular on Tuesday, Thursdays, where it's a Solve Live. This is Rackspace Live. I'm telling you specifically today about all the greatness of the things that Rackspace does. So I am shamelessly going to encourage you to go check out the link that Daniel's providing for you in the chat. It's also, we'll get it into the description as well after the fact. And that is, if you are utilizing the Power Platform, Rackspace is here to help you through that governance process. Today, we do that through the forms of people who will come in and help you walk through that process. Very early in Q1 of 2022, we will have an at-scale offering that will help you go through a governance workshop. Not just what are you thinking about, but how do you design and implement and review, right? All right, Jerry, isn't that one of the huge things of governance? Is it's not a, hey, let's write this document up and put it on a shelf and say we one and done. It's a living document.
It is, yeah, and that's an important thing to remember, right? As part of the process that we go through, we will talk about your governance committees, if you will, how often they should meet, and things like that, because it is a living document. As much as the Microsoft environment changes, your governance document needs to be fluid like that and change with it as well.
Well, you say it's as much as the Microsoft environment changes, but also as, that first governance document generally is somewhat restrictive. We're going to let these people do this with that data. Let's make sure the world doesn't end. Okay, the world didn't end. Let's loosen the reins a little. Let's see how fast this pony can run. And so that document needs to change over time as well. And the governance document and governance process accounts for how you update and manage that over time.
Yep, that's right.
Well, folks, go fill that out. I'd love to see a bunch of you get involved here. Today, we have smart people who can start having smart conversations with you. Fill out that form. You get to have a conversation with one. Philip asked the question up there, is Microsoft going to use that, meaning Teams, exposing data in Teams, as a way to centralize collection of data? I don't think they're going to. I think it's a stated design that Teams becomes the head of your organization, whether that's the processes, the data, the applications. Teams is that open architecture to be able to take that. Jeremiah, anything you'd add to that?
Yeah, so just to kind of an example of that, they also have the Microsoft Dataverse for Teams now, which is being able to build Power Apps and flows directly from data that you're collecting in Teams and structuring all of it around a team versus an environment in the Office 365.
Right. Hey, Jeremiah, let me ask you a question we didn't plan for. Would you come back at some point and show folks how that integrates and how to build a simple solution?
Absolutely.
I bet we could do that in 30 minutes or less, couldn't we?
Oh, definitely.
I love the sound of that. Let's start doing a Power App Monday, Friday. Let's come up with a day. You guys interested in that? Comment down below. Let us know if you would love to get some weekly not daily. That's a little much. We love us some Power Apps, but that's a little much. Teresa, anything you would add as the product manager over all of this stuff here at Rackspace?
I would just say customers are finding Power Apps and the Power Platform in general to be a really useful tool. It's something we are seeing customers come to us more often than not. And so, again, let us help you make sure that you understand the importance of governance and protecting your data. That's what we're here for.
That's right. And so much is changing. I was just watching a live stream with Mark Cashman, who's the product manager over lists inside of SharePoint. Sounds boring, but lists are really the foundation of everything that's behind the scenes here. I mentioned I started my little career in tech in the SharePoint space just because I saw the vision of what SharePoint could mean to organizations. And we don't hear the word SharePoint a lot anymore, but what's behind all of this? SharePoint. Absolutely behind all of this. And Microsoft continues to iterate to empower tools like Power Automate. So guys, go fill out that form. I want to see you filling out that form. You're not committing to spend. You're committing to have a conversation with us. You want to talk to me in the process? Don't. I'm not a genius in PowerPoint, but I'll get Jeremiah on the phone for you, and you'll have a great time. All right, everyone. This has been great. A midday time with the Rackspace team. I'm so glad that you chose to spend a few minutes with us. I'll be back tomorrow morning at 8:30 talking about all things data and unstructured data with our friends from over at Dell. That's a thought leadership event. So we're not selling anything here. Here, it's all about Rackspace. Go click on that form and fill it out. I'd love to get to have a conversation, or at least facilitate Jeremiah and the vast swaths of people we have here behind him here to help you with your Power Apps adoption. Everyone, thank you so much. Kelly's saying she doesn't see the form. Are you copying it down? Let's make sure that Daniel's getting it put out there. Daniel, if you... there we go, Daniel. Thank you so much. Just go ahead and click on that and you'll be on your way. So Kelly, we do hope that Kelly's got an MBA. That's awesome. We hope you'll see you in there. Hey, we got Arardo from McAllen. You know what? Our services work in McAllen too. So go ahead and fill out that form. And thank you, Philip, for getting the copy in there as well. Always the proponent. I need to send you a Christmas present. All right, everybody, have a great rest of your day. Go finish your lunch, your dinner, your breakfast. I don't know where in the world you're watching us from. Have an amazing day. This has been Rackspace Live with the team here from our Power Platform Service offering. Go fill out that form, and you get to talk to the smart people. Have a great day, everybody. I'm Jeff DeVerter for not Cloud Talk. That's the podcast for Rackspace.